All right, so now we're going to be moving on to part three of this same section, so 3E. So now we're just solving and trying to figure out how to solve all these different types of multi-step equations that we will be seeing. So it's the third part of this video, and all we're going to focus on this one is this last part, is that you're going to know how to solve special case equations. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment, where when we get an answer, it's not going to be just x is equal to 1. We're going to have to interpret what the answer is giving us, and you're going to see it's going to give us either that no value for x will work, and it's going to give us no solution, or any value that we plug in for x will work. So all real numbers or infinitely many solutions will happen. So we're going to look at special cases. All right, so just a few examples that we're going to go through, and then that'll be it for this video. All right, so the first example we have here is 3x minus 4 minus x is equal to 2x minus 4. So remember, first thing we do when we're solving any question is seeing, can I simplify any side of my equation? And yes, I have two like terms here, so let me go ahead and simplify that. 3x minus x will give me 2x. So now I have 2x minus 4 is equal to 2x minus 4. Hopefully, when you look at that, something should maybe jump out at you. Say, whoa, wait a minute, 2x minus 4 is equal to 2x minus 4. Well, let's go ahead and solve this algebraically to give us an answer. But when you get to this point, hopefully something should jump out at you as, oh, this is a special case. But you see, it's the exact same thing on both sides of our equation. So what we would do first is we're still going to break this down, and we're going to still move our variables. So I want my variables on one side of the equation. So I'm going to move my 2x to the other side. To do that, I need to subtract 2x. Well, in both of these cases, they're going to cancel out and be 0. And by doing that, now we're just left with a statement that says negative 4 is equal to negative 4. So if we are solving a problem and our variables completely cancel out, where when we have the same amount on both sides, it gives us 0 variables, we need to look at the statement that's given to us now. This negative 4 is equal to negative 4. And we need to ask ourselves, is this a true statement or is this a false statement? Well, negative 4 does in fact equal negative 4, so it is a true statement. And if it's a true statement, that means that no matter what we plug in for x, it will always work. So you can either say it's all real numbers, or infinitely many solutions. I would accept either one as an answer. All right, and now let's go back to this 2x minus 4 is equal to 2x minus 4. This should have jumped out at you because we have the exact same thing on both sides, that no matter what we plug in for x, they're both being multiplied by 2. So if I pick negative 498, they're both being multiplied by 2. So since it's both being multiplied by the same number, after the multiplication, it's still equal. And then after we multiply, they're both being subtracted by 4. So since it was equal to begin with, now it's equal after we multiply by 2. It'll still be equal after we subtract by 4. So that should have jumped out that no matter what we plug in, it will always give us an equal statement because the two expressions of 2x minus 4 are exactly the same, and we're saying they're equal. All right, but I do want to see you guys solve it to where you get down to your number here and then tell me if it is a true or a false statement. All right, so let's go ahead and go through another pretty simple problem as far as not having to do much work, and then we're going to start making it a little bit harder for that last question. Okay, so now our second example we have here is 5 times 3x plus 4 is equal to 15x minus 20. Same thing that we always do. We always want to simplify as much as we can on either side of the equation, and that means I will multiply this. So now I have 15x plus 20 is equal to 15x minus 20. Once again, once you get to here, something should jump out at you, and you should be able to start maybe coming up with what you think an answer could be for this. But let's go ahead and continue to solve. So when we have variables on both sides, we want to move them to the same side. So you're always going to see me move mine to the left. So since it's a positive 15, I will subtract 15 from both sides. And by doing that, since we had the same amount on both sides, they cancel out to 0. And now I get a statement of 20 is equal to negative 20. Well, hold on. Does 20 in fact equal negative 20? No. So that is a false statement. And when you have a false statement, there is no solution. No matter what you plug in for x, you will never, ever, ever get anything that will actually satisfy this equation. So there is no solution to this. And it should hopefully make sense to you. When we look at this 15x plus 20 is equal to 15x minus 20. Well, any number we pick, They're both being multiplied by 15. So after we substitute in and multiply, they're still equal. However, here we're adding 20 and here we're subtracting 20. So since we are not doing the exact same thing after that, they'll never be equal at that point, right? So that would tell us that it is no solution. But you do need to make sure that you're getting to this point here where you can then make that false or true statement. All right, there's one more question we're going to do for this, a little bit harder, it's a little bit more in depth, but it's going to ultimately come back to a no solution or infinitely many. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this problem. So now this one's a little bit more in depth with a lot more going on each side. So I'm just going to simplify both sides of these equations. So first I'm going to look here and say, okay, well, I got like terms of 10g minus 8g. So that's going to give me 2g. And then I have like terms of 18 minus 8. So that's going to give me plus 10. And then I have here where I'm going to distribute this in because it's telling us to multiply. So negative 2 times 3g is negative 6g. And negative 2 times negative 5 is a plus 10. And now I'm left with plus 8g here, which are like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those. So now I have 2g plus 10 is equal to a negative 6 plus 8 is 2g plus 10. So this just took us a little bit longer to get to here. And now when we get here, something should jump out at you. But we need to go through and show all of our work. So let's go ahead and move this to the other side. So I will subtract 2g from both sides. And when I do that, they both cancel out. So now I'm left with the statement of 10 is equal to 10, which is a true statement. And that means that there are infinitely many solutions, so infinitely many, or all real numbers. Right, either one would be acceptable as your final answer. Right, you don't need to write both, you can just write one. All right, that is it for this video.